Hi, I'm Jen Fox, the Director of Outreach for the Minnesota Department of Commerce. As Minnesota's Consumer Protection Agency, the Commerce Department regulates more than 21 industries through 7 different divisions. From energy, where we provide information about renewable energy, objective energy analysis, and advocate for the public interest, to financial institutions, where we monitor state-chartered banks and credit unions, to weights and measures, where we inspect commercial scales and meters to ensure consumers get what they pay for. The Commerce Department is involved in many aspects of the economic marketplace. Through our Enforcement Division, the Department of Commerce regulates numerous fields that require licenses to be in business within Minnesota. These are industries like insurance companies and agents, securities brokers, investment advisors, realtors, debt collection agencies, money transmitters, and the trade and sale of bullion, coins, and bars. In this video and the following 3 videos, we will highlight the work of the Enforcement Division as well as the work of the Commerce Fraud Bureau. The Commerce Fraud Bureau is the law enforcement unit within the Commerce Department. The investigating officers in the Commerce Fraud Bureau focus on insurance fraud and other white-collar criminal financial crimes. To contact the Consumer Services Center or the Commerce Fraud Bureau, call 651-539-1500. Or, if you're in Greater Minnesota, call 1-800-657-3602. If you would like to use email, it's consumer.protection@state.mn.us. It's always important to report frauds and scams you or your friends and family experience to local law enforcement. Your local police and sheriff's office is able to advise the best course of action to take after you receive a fraudulent solicitation. Local law enforcement are able to distribute information about common frauds and scams occurring in your region to local media outlets. This practice keeps consumers informed about what to look for. Through the remainder of this video, I will discuss the extent of the problem of frauds and scams in Minnesota and what to look for to hang up on fraud. We know that older adults are often targeted for financial exploitation. It's estimated that 1 out of every 5 people over the age of 65 has already been the victim of financial swindle. A recent study says that older Americans are defrauded out of nearly $3 billion each year. Why are older Americans targeted for financial exploitation? Because that's where the money is. People 65 and up have had the greatest amount of time to save and often have the largest number of assets. And they're quickly becoming the largest population. For instance, the number of Minnesotans aged 65 and up will double between 2010 and 2030. Tragically, the threat of senior financial fraud is expected to grow as the senior population grows. Now here's some good news. Financial fraud is often 100% preventable. With the right tools, we can spot and stop fraud before it starts. The Federal Trade Commission tells us fraudsters still use the telephone as their weapon of choice, which means the more a person interacts with phone scams, the more likely they are to be taken by a fraud or a scam. At the Commerce Department, our top priority is to protect consumers against financial abuse and fraud. As we know, the first step to doing so is to provide you and your loved ones with the tools necessary to spot and stop fraud on your own. The Commerce Department developed a toolkit to help Minnesotans identify the red flags of fraud. We call it Hang Up on Fraud. That resource is now available for download on our website. mn.gov/commerce. You'll find it under the Consumers tab in the Safe Seniors section. The Hang Up on Fraud Toolkit highlights financial frauds and scams that are common in Minnesota. It also provides resources about protecting your money and your personal information. Most importantly, the toolkit illuminates that no matter how nice a person might sound, or whatever scare tactic they might use to convince you, if someone calls and wants you to hand over money, you should be suspicious and hang up on fraud. You're never being rude when you're protecting your money and your information. Frauds and scams are based on exploiting people's trust. Scammers use public information to find out your name and your phone number, and they often use scare tactics or fake opportunities to get you to send money or provide more personal information or to gain access to your computer. With that knowledge, we know to be wary of a stranger or an acquaintance who is trying to get your money. Even if it's a family member or a trusted financial professional, you should verify that what they are doing with any money you entrust to them is according to your best wishes. Get a second opinion and closely monitor your finances. Okay, here are some quick tips to fight fraud. When a stranger calls you and asks for money or for you to provide any personal information, it's important to get off the phone as soon as possible. When it comes to protecting yourself, you're never being rude. Just hang up on fraud. Phone a friend. If you're confused or concerned by a call that you receive, contact a trusted friend or family member for advice, or to share the information about that particular scam. Never let a caller rush you into making a decision. Report fraud. We can't stop fraud that we don't know about. Report fraud to your local law enforcement agency or the Commerce Department Fraud Bureau to protect others from being victims. Commerce is here to help you identify if a call is a fraud or a scam. Or we're able to connect you to the Commerce Fraud Bureau. Contact the Minnesota Department of Commerce Consumer Services Center by email or by phone. The Commerce Department, as Minnesota's consumer protection agency, partners with community leaders, local law enforcement, and consumer advocates to provide older adults and your loved ones with the knowledge and tools needed to fight fraud. If you're interested in more information about common frauds and scams, the red flags of fraud, and what happens when you report fraud, tune in to the other videos provided by the Minnesota Department of Commerce. If you're interested in further information about the efforts to stop fraud before it starts, visit our webpage, mn.gov/commerce.